Welcome back to the Somers Sports Broadcast. Today we have Season 4, Episode 9, and Jayden's going to start us off with an NFL Thanksgiving recap.
So, Week 13, there's a devastating loss for the Philadelphia Eagles against the Chicago Bears. Initially, there was low scoring, just overall in the first half, but the Bears started and got a lot of momentum after a touchdown from Swift after he rushed it in. Then a field goal from each team in the second quarter, and then over to halftime. And then coming out, after a little bit of time, A.J. Brown made a 33-yard touchdown, and that was the only score in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, the Bears smacked down the Birds, unfortunately, with 2 touchdowns from Monungai and Williams. The Eagles tried to respond with another touchdown from A.J. Brown, but it just wasn't enough. So your final score was 24-15, the Bears taking it.
Yes, and great week for all the Cowboys fans out there. They beat the Eagles last week. This week, Cowboys delivered a Thanksgiving classic, beating the Chiefs 31-28 in a back-and-forth battle, highlighted by Dak Prescott's 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. CD came up with 112 yards and the late go-ahead touchdown on a 4th and goal. Brandon Aubrey field goal helped lock in Dallas's win as they improved to 6-5-1. Some playoff hopes there, depending how the next few weeks play out across the league. And then the Packers beat the Lions 31-24. Love's 4 touchdown passes and a perfect 3-for-3 performance on 4th down conversions carried the Packers to the win. Dontavian Wicks had 2 scores, and Green Bay's defense made key stops late in the game to stop Detroit's comeback attempt. Both games were close, physical, and full of playoff storylines, with Dallas strengthening its wildcard hopes and Green Bay tightening control in the NFC North.
Yeah, so it was actually a great game for the Carolina Panthers. They are winning. They're now positive. They beat the number 1 seed in the NFC. They beat the Rams. They did really well against them. The Niners actually destroyed the Browns 26-8. Everyone had a good game. I think everyone had a good game there. The Bucs actually won against the Cardinals. That was a really good game. It was very close. You'd think the Bucs would win by more, but no, they barely won, and they won 20-17.
And now on to Week 14 predictions. We'll do 2 games each. I'll start us off. I'm going to go with the Cowboys-Lions. I think the Cowboys are going to come out on top 28-24, just barely. Their receivers are going to find their way into favorable matchups, and they're going to have some late defensive stops to come out on top of the Lions. And then Ravens-Steelers. This should be a pretty nice game. Good, not a great game, woohoo, but a good game. Ravens, I have them beating the Steelers 23-16. I think Baltimore is going to control the game. They're going to have a good run game, and they're going to limit scoring chances for Pittsburgh.
I think that the Chiefs are going to be upset by the Texans. The Texans played really well against the Colts, and the Chiefs just came off a devastating loss to the Cowboys. So I think that the Texans are going to take that, and I think the Bills are going to beat the Bengals. I know Joe Burrow just came back, but I do think that the Bills are a better team, and I think that they're just going to beat the Bengals because their defense isn't as well.
So, Seahawks and the Falcons, a bird versus bird matchup. I think the Seahawks are going to take it there, and with a pretty good victory. I'm predicting 28-21, probably. I think the Seattle's defense is a little bit better than the Falcons. They're struggling a little bit. And the Buccaneers versus Saints. I think it's going to be a very close game with the Buccaneers. They're favored to win this game. And there's a bunch of injuries and desperation in this matchup. So I think the Buccaneers are going to slightly win. I'd say by a field goal, so 24-21. All right, now we're going to recap some of the sports recently.
So Kyle Larson won the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship at Phoenix Raceway, his 2nd career title and the 15th for Hendrick Motorsports. Larson finished 3rd in the race, but was the highest finishing Championship 4 driver, beating Denny Hamlin, William Byron, and Chase Briscoe. Hamlin controlled most of the race. He led over 200 laps, but a late caution caused by Byron's lap 310 crash led to an overtime restart. Larson restarted on the outside, gained momentum, and held his position while Hamlin lost ground on the bottom. Finishing sixth, Ryan Blaney won the race itself, but Larson's execution on the final restart and strong track position allowed him to clinch the championship despite not leading a lap. And Phil, do you want to do the NBA?
Yeah, I'll talk about the NBA. So over the last 2 weeks in the NBA, a lot of contenders made pretty good statements, while a handful of teams, they weren't doing too good. They were still on a slump. They still just got over the slump on some pretty good finishes too. So the Nuggets made, I think, the biggest impact with a really big win over Phoenix. They beat Suns with a 22 3-point performance, 23 3-pointers, which is something you don't really see too often, led by Jokic. I think he almost had a triple-double. The Bucks finally snapped the 7-game losing streak, which was pretty rough, but they won against the Nets, which aren't the best team in the league, with a 29 points from Giannis, which was actually a really great performance by him, and great scoring by all of the starters. I think everyone really contributed there, but I think the Giannis probably obviously did the best. Yeah, the fans were also enjoying it. Pascal Siakam lifted the Pacers over the Bulls with an insane jump shot in the fourth quarter, and it led them to a bunch of fourth quarter pushes like Minnesota, and I think the Houston Rockets too. They also had really close games, and it was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of shooting, and all the games were pretty close this week.
Yeah, for sure. So over the last 2 weeks in NHL, several top teams delivered big statement wins. That was really surprising. The Colorado Avalanche looked like one of the biggest, most competitive teams, beating the Rangers 6-3 behind explosive nights from Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. Toronto put together one of the most dominant performances of the stretch with a 7-2 win over Pittsburgh. A lot of scoring in that game. And it shows how dangerous their offense can be when both their forwards and defensive men are rolling. And then Buffalo had one of the biggest upsets, ending Minnesota's 7-game winning streak in a close 3-2 shootout. That proves how unpredictable this early season has been. And Vegas broke free of their troubles with a 4-3 win over San Jose, continuing their long dominance in that matchup. So overall in the past 2 weeks, there have been a lot of high-powered offenses and a lot of standouts from the goaltending and a lot of momentum swings overall in this fight for position heading into December.
Welcome to part 2 of season 4, episode 9. We're going to start off with an interview with Somers alumni, NFL player from the Denver Broncos, Nick Gargiulo. Today we're here with Nick Gargiulo from the Denver Broncos, Somers alumni with varsity football. And Nick, just to start us off, what is the best memory you have from your Somers football days?
I think that would be an easy one. 2016, when we won the state championship, we had a pretty good crew: Matt Pyrus, Messiah Horn, Kevin Olifiers, Jack Gilroy. We had a nice little run there after the section championship to go win a title.
Definitely a moment to remember.
Yeah, and then how did playing for the Somers program affect your career in football and turn you into the player and person that you are today?
I think that's what Somers does such a good job of. They have a real good focus on development of the person who then becomes a good player, right? I think that all the programs from the mentoring initiative that Coach DiMatteo started with, the varsity players helping out with the youth players, to the leadership qualities and techniques he instilled, in all of us in our playing days. That just sets you up for having a successful career. It shows you how to be a good teammate, how to get through times of adversity, and puts you in a real good spot if you want to, continue playing on past high school.
Yeah, and speaking of playing on past high school, what was the moment you realized that you had the potential to play at the collegiate or the NFL level?
I think for college, it was kind of just after my sophomore season. I remember Coach DiMatteo telling me I had a real chance. He told me, "Hey, listen, if you live in the weight room and you get your body right, you have a chance to to go do something special. And then I started getting some college interest that junior season. Really, when I knew it was going to be a reality, then when teams were reaching out for camps and um, visits and whatnot. So uh, I would say after my junior season, I knew there was a chance.
And then just throughout your experience with the football and everything, what is one thing that high school athletes underestimate about the collegiate level?
One thing that high school athletes underestimate, I think everyone, um, I think that's a good question. I think once you get to college, everyone is looking to be the best, right? So you have to set yourself apart in some capacity. But the reality is that there's no um, secret sauce or thing you could do. It's all just about hard work. Like if you just continue to do the little things every day to put yourself in a position that when your opportunity comes, you're ready for it and you can take advantage of it. You'll be ready. So I think that um, while it's not this daunting unknown thing of college athletics, it is a major step up, and you have to be prepared, um, to go play at that level.
Yeah, I think a lot of high schoolers appreciate that.
And then in terms of film, what's the best way to study for a game, and how do you translate that into a game?
I think studying for film it takes different forms, right? The reality or what you're trying to be able to do is play fast and play free, right? You want to be able to recognize what the defense is going to do for one reason only, so that you could play confident and you could play fast. So whatever you could do to study your opponent to be able to allow you to do that is what is effective. Now that takes different forms, right? On the macro level, it's what defense are they playing? What blitzes do they bring? On third down, what's their pressure package? And then on a personnel basis, like, hey, what is this guy's go-to move on third down? How does he play the run game? Is he a two-hand striker? Is he a power player? Or is someone that I'm gonna have to worry about finesse? So all you're trying to do is build a uh, framework of knowledge so that when you go out there on a Friday night, you could play fast, you could play confident, and you could play free.
That's really awesome. And do you feel that your captain role at Yale and South Carolina put you in a better position for the NFL draft, and how so?
I think so too. I think character plays a big portion of your opportunities in the NFL. It's a tight roster and everyone's looking for an edge up. So I would say the biggest difference, and this plays into this captaincy portion, is like you have to take care of a lot on your own in the NFL. There's no babysitter, there's no guidance counselor or coach making sure you're in line. You're a professional. This is what you do for a living. So it's the expectation that you're putting yourself in the best position possible to go and compete for a spot. And so I think having that baseline of being a captain definitely helped me along the way.
Amazing. And then if you go back and tell yourself, your high school self, one thing, what would that be?
I think I did a good job of this, but just enjoy it, right? It's only for a finite amount of time, and I know it's applicable to, way more than sports. Like I think even for you guys doing this broadcast and something you're passionate about, just enjoy all the time you have putting in, even when things aren't going the right way or you're struggling. Just enjoy all those moments because it goes quick, and then you want to make sure that you enjoyed your time.
And then talk about enjoying. What was your initial reaction to being drafted to the Broncos?
I mean, I was real excited. It was in the seventh round with the second to last pick, so I was convinced that close the you turn off the TV, close the laptop like it's over. And then I got a call from Coach Payton and the Broncos at that last moment. So it was really exciting. Obviously, um, things have turned out great here, and I'm really enjoying my time so far. So all things worked out well.
It's really
Yeah, just
awesome.
And to wrap it up here, we know unfortunately you're on the injured list for this season. What have you been doing personally to get back for next year, hopefully?
I've been rehabbing every day. I had a pretty significant knee injury. I did my ACL, MCL, PCL, lateral meniscus, and my root meniscus. So I think my timeline's a little bit longer. I just got my ACL surgery a few days ago, actually. So I did all the uh, initial ligaments about 3 or 4 months ago, and then I just went back in and did it this past week. Just being in the building every day, grinding little by little, getting the knee strength back, and doing everything I can to get back on the field.
That's amazing. And that's all from us. Thank you so much for your time. It was great talking to you.
Best of luck, guys. Good luck with this broadcast, and you guys are doing great things.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we're going to recap NFL Week 14. Phillip, why don't you start us off?
All right, so NFL Week 14 was a great set of games. The Packers beat the Bears 28-21 in an interdivisional matchup. It was a great game. It was a lot of rushing, not a lot of passing involved, but it was a pretty good game. The Vikings beat the Commanders 31-0 in a shutout. The Commanders did not look good. They looked really, really bad, and I don't know how they're gonna make the playoffs if they just keep playing like this. They lost to the J.J. McCarthy-led Vikings. And the Rams beat the Cardinals 45-17 in a Puka Nacua breakout game.
Now, the Bills pulled off one of the craziest finishes of the year. They came back late to beat the Bengals, while the Saints, they upset the Bucks from behind a strong defense and 2 rushing touchdowns from rookie quarterback Tyler Show. Seattle rolled past Atlanta and dominated all-around win, and the Broncos reclaimed the AFC top spot with a 24-17 win over the Raiders.
The Texans pulled off a road win at Arrowhead Stadium, beating the Chiefs 20-10, a major blow to the Kansas City playoff hopes.
And finally, at MetLife Stadium, the Dolphins destroyed the Jets 34-10. Miami had an outstanding 456 yards, destroying the Jets 259. The Jets had 3 turnovers when the Dolphins had 0. Jalen Wright stepped in with a career-high 107 rushing yards and a touchdown. I was there at the game. Great game. Congrats to the Dolphins, and if we win out, we have a high chance of making the playoffs this season. And up next, we have NFL Week 15 predictions. I'm going to go ahead and start. I think the Falcons are going to lose to the Bucks 24-10. And I think the Giants are going to beat the Commanders in a low-scoring game, 13-7.
I think that the Bills are going to split with the Pats this year, and I think they're going to win 30-24. And I think the Lions are going to beat the Rams 44-34.
Colts and the Seahawks are going to be playing there. I think the Colts are going to win 24-12. Panthers and Saints play. That's going to be a closer game there. I think that's going to be more 21 to, say, 20. Yeah.
I think that the Texans are going to beat the Cardinals 35-7 and keep the momentum going from last week's game. And I think that the Eagles are going to beat the Raiders 27-9.
I'll start with the SEC, Georgia versus Alabama. Georgia dominated the SEC championship. It wasn't even close. They beat Alabama 28-7. Gunnar Stockton, he led the Bulldogs with 3 touchdown passes, while Georgia's defense completely shut down the Alabama offense, holding them to just 209 total yards and 3 whole rushing yards. It was a statement for Georgia securing another SEC title and making sure that they're going to be in that college football playoff position.
Now in the Big Ten, Ohio State versus Indiana. Indiana got the win against Ohio State 13-10. The Ohio State kicker missed a late-minute field goal. There was 2 minutes and 43 seconds left, I think. And it was on the 27-yard line, and he missed the kick, which would have tied up the game. And unfortunately, they missed, and Indiana was able to come out with a dirty but good win against Ohio State 13-10.
And now in the Texas Tech versus BYU game, Texas Tech Red Raiders crushed the BYU Cougars 34-7 in the 2025 Big 12 Championship game. After BYU's opening drive touchdown, Texas Tech locked in. Their defense dominated, and they forced four second-half turnovers. The win got Texas Tech its first Big 12 title and probably a first-round bye in the college football playoff.
And now we are going to predict the winner of the college football playoffs this year. I'm going to go with Georgia, 3 seed. They're in a good spot. They have a bunch of momentum after their 21-8 win against Alabama. Phillip?
I think that Ohio State or Texas A&M, I think it's going to be one of those two teams that make it. I know a lot of people don't think Texas A&M is going to make it, but I do think that they're a really good overall team, and I think they can make it.
I'm going to have to go with Brandon here. I think that Georgia is going to win the CFB bracket.
I'm going to go with Ohio winning.
And now for our NBA recap. This week in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder stayed hot, winning again behind another big performance from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Denver Nuggets also had a strong week, with Jamal Murray dropping over 50 points in one game and Nikola Jokic putting up near triple-doubles. The Lakers pulled out a close win over the 76ers, carried by great games from LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Across the league, there were several 30 to 40 point scoring nights from different players, showing how explosive this week was. One odd moment came when Desmond Bane threw the ball at OG Anunoby during a play, earning a technical foul.
Thank you for watching. We are the Summer Sports Broadcasting Club. See you next week.